I like how today we have rainbow twin and evil dark twin. What the heck?
What the
Flaunt.
heck?
Literally flaunting.
Hi, I'm Rainbow Twin, and she's Dark Twin. Welcome to the podcast.
To your worst nightmare.
Except I talk in this voice the whole time, and I'm super anti, and you're like, hi, I'm Riley.
Brayden the other day was leaving the house and he was having the vibe of talking like emo, Midwest emo vibes, like where are you? And I'm so sorry. But he was only talking like this to me all day. And I was like, he was going out to have a drink with friends, and I did say that he would be heavily rewarded if he kept that voice up for the duration of his socialization, but he was honest and said he didn't, and he was shy.
My favorite in that voice, first of all, Sean has given me the ick doing that before, full blown, but my favorite in that voice is going, I made you laugh, I made you cry, I don't know which side to buy.
Classic. It just slayed a little anime voice, though.
I've been practicing it when I'm in the studio alone. Everyone will leave the studio and I'm the last tattoo artist, and I'm like, oh my god, it's just me. I'm so tired. I'm so cold. I just want to get home and I'm so hungry.
I'm glad you can keep yourself entertained in that way.
I do. I will be at the end of a long tattoo day, which I have been trying to have less long days because I realize that my body and brain only has a certain capacity, and I start getting delulu and even being a little bit weird to my clients, and I'm like, let's do this about photos, and I'm like, it's not the vibe. Quite like, no. So anyway, I'm trying to have less long days, but last night it's like late and before I leave the studio, and I'm starting to be delusional, and an intense headache is coming on, and I'm hungry and I'm tired and it's freezing outside, and so that's just the type of stuff I have to do to keep myself well. I'm like, hi, whoa, it's dark in here. I turned off all the lights.
Who wants to see the lights turn off? They're turning off. Welcome to the Q&R Code. That is my twin Quinn. She's a voice actor. I'm Riley, and I sell art to wealthy patrons.
That's a pretty noble job.
Somebody has to do that important work. I do think that it would be so fun to be an art buyer because you get to buy art that you otherwise couldn't afford. However, surprise, it's a very competitive job. Not a lot of people in that field work.
That is so cool, though. Like, curating art collections is badass. And to just it's not like it's all you do, but to get to have days where just all day you're looking at cool art on the clock. Yes, please. This would be a sparkling coconut water with yuzu from Trader Joe's. If you have not tried these, friends, and there's a Trader Joe's in your area, it comes highly recommended.
Yeah, those are an excellent Trader Joe's, Bev. Also, Trader Joe's just dropped a prebiotic soda in 2 flavors, at least at our Trader Joe's there were 2 flavors, strawberry vanilla and cherry cola. So I decided to try the cherry cola first, and I enjoyed it.
Cool. I actually saw that because they were in the veggie section, which I thought, okay. It was literally
they're like,
vegetable,
it's even more fibrous than a vegetable soda.
I think they felt they would get recognized there because they stand out of the crowd of green vegetables, which is true and it happened, but honestly, they did not do a good enough job because I somehow, like, I didn't think twice about it. Now that you say that, I know I saw them and they were there and I fully saw, noticed, took, but even meat, they didn't get me. I didn't buy one. So, I don't know, guys. Maybe a swing and a miss. Well, it sounds like a 1 out of 2 people got. They got.
I'm
so.
surprised because you seem like just the target audience for
That's
that.
what I'm saying.
And they're more affordable than their Olipop Poppy counterparts, so
Hopefully
I
by
thought worth
far.
a try. I don't remember honestly exactly how much it cost, but I remember being like, "Yep, they're cheaper."
Your outfit is very Alison Lilge inspired right now to me, or evokes Alison Lilge.
Yes, well, this sweater was passed along from her, and same with a lot of my style, I suppose.
So Sean got a package of some stuff from his childhood home and that we got to look through, and some of it being yearbooks, which was fun because I just think those are fun to reminisce in general, but I don't know, like, it's been a long time. First of all, Sean this year will have been graduated from high school 10 years ago, so that's crazy. But looking through the yearbook was so sweet and funny. Also, a little sad being like, oh, multiple of my classmates have passed away, and that's just very startling and not what you would expect at this point in our lives. But one of the things we in our high school yearbook, Riley, were both interviewed about our fashion, and when your question that was written in the yearbook asked to you was what is your like favorite thing in your wardrobe, and you said anything black. And when I was asked who is your fashion inspo, I said myself.
Humble.
So that's
like,
crazy.
Who is my inspiration? Me. Next.
I at that time was very inspired by fashion and having so much fun with it, and I think I didn't have the wherewithal to realize obviously there are a million inspirations around me. I think I was just having a bit of the basic human mind where I'm like, well, genuinely, like, it's not like I was looking on Pinterest or looking to this celebrity or looking whatever. I was like, I'm just having so much fun building something in my closet, but clearly there's inspiration everywhere, and to say myself is crazy. But I was thinking about it and who I would say for myself now at this point and then at this point, or at that point, and I do feel like saying my mom, Miss Allie, would be very true. She's a big style icon to me. Everyone, honestly.
Yeah, I would agree, and our episode with her on style is so good. Our first ever guest podcast episode, and one of our most listened to episodes, because who doesn't want to learn from the best? But that's
we need to have her on again. Who wants her on? Tell us.
Yeah, let us know. I guess I'm not that surprised by me saying anything black, but also it's not like if I think back to high school and like picture my outfits that I think like I was predominantly wearing black, but I definitely had an era where we had heavily, I would say, black, gray, burgundy,
and army green.
Army green featured very heavily.
Yeah,
which
but
you can't really go wrong with that palette, so I will give us
we
that.
did wear a lot of black. I think more than we both do now.
Yeah, I think now I'm more, if I had to say, your favorite neutral to wear between black or brown, I would say brown. Brown is more in my repertoire, but of course I like black. Classic. What I don't like is, hopefully it doesn't read from the podcast, I doubt it does, but somebody's hairs that get all over it and are so very obvious. And when you live with many hairy people, black feels like less of a good option in the wardrobe because it just screams, I have a cat living in my sweater basket.
Yeah. I think that I could use to be more thorough more often, doing a little, what's it called? Dehairing? Lint rolling, yep, because sometimes it is atrocious. Also, as I'm watching Sean get dressed in, what is this fleece? It's fleece, and fleece, he's wearing a full black fleece outfit right now, and it's pretty gnarly with the hair. That clings big time and does show.
Oh gosh. Well, separate note, I would like to see our yearbooks. I don't know where mine are. I assume at our parents' house, but I was the other day wishing I had one because I was talking to Brayden about someone we went to school with, and he was like, I don't remember them at all. I'm like, what are you talking about, Brayden? I was trying to explain to them, but I couldn't find them on social media, and so I was like, I don't know what to say, but
Brayden didn't grow up from babyhood with us like so many of those kids, so I could see with him in his few years of being part of it.
This was someone that moved to our town in high school, so
okay.
This was not a valid excuse.
The urge within me to start naming names, but doesn't matter, obviously. I won't lie, there were a couple of people, but thankfully only a couple, that I was like, I'm not recalling you being in my grade. Yeah, don't recall, and I think you would be surprised too, probably, and it could just have been people that moved later, that then we didn't have a huge high school by any means, but I could totally have seen if we didn't end up in the same classes and they had moved and they weren't in like my circle and friend group, thinking, oh, that's maybe someone from another grade, like just not realizing. But
no, we did not have a huge high school by any means, and I definitely would think that I would know everyone that was in our grade, even if I didn't know them well, but I guess now we're almost 10 years out too, so the things that I think I would remember also.
That's what I thought. Looking back, I was like, oh my gosh, I remember thinking, like, I'm obviously going to remember all of this and all these people, and then I was like, oh my gosh, hello you, forgot about you for a minute there. To continue my Sean expose, in his elementary school yearbooks, he did go throughout and write cute over some girls, hot over a couple,
Classy,
and then
Sean.
like yay and awesome by a couple of his friends, moron over one kid. Also, Riley, it is someone we know very well, and that we grew up with, so it is so funny.
It's like, lest you forget, idiot. That is so funny. Well, that's better. I thought you were gonna say that he put like "uggo" next to some, which I do not appreciate. But
thankfully none of that
is hilarious.
And then there was one kid that he had the like didn't draw on his face, but labeled him with the mean cranky eyes, like mean guy.
I wonder if Sean and his like friends sat down and did that in their yearbooks, or if that was a solo project.
It somehow just called to me that was a solo deal, because it's only in his handwriting, like all in the same handwriting, all marked on the same spot on the page and everything. Yes, they could have sat down and done it in theirs respectively, but it just felt like something Sean did in his room.
The question is, were you labeled cute or hot?
Well, I wasn't in his elementary school.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Which
So
he
he
better
got a
have labeled
slide.
me that. Are you kidding me? If not, that would have been not good for any of us. But right, we also found his senior, like the book that we decorated for him that you and I made for him for their graduation party, and both of our signatures in it, or our little passages, our notes to him, were both so sweet and cute. And I did end mine signed hugs and kisses. So crazy.
A little bit of foreshadowing.
I'm like, kiss me. I mean, no, totally. I'm just saying hugs and kisses.
That's fun to look back through those things. I'm glad when your parents encourage that sort of thing. Like, think about if we didn't have a mom that thought to do, journals where people sign a guest book from coming to your graduation party or whatever. So many people just wouldn't have those memories. And
yeah,
it's fun to have like a tangible journal like that, which is also why it's good people that journal independently, and then they can remember their lives. And I can't remember anything, and I don't keep a journal. And it's so funny, if you look through so many of my journals, it's a page of me saying, I would like to get like in a journaling practice, and it's important to me to write down more of these moments of my life and remember these things. And then it'll be 3 years later, next passage, well, I did not stay committed to my journaling practice, but I would love to get back into it. Oh gosh.
Isn't that frustrating though? It frustrates me for you and about you, because you are also a writer, and sometimes when you're an artist in a certain medium, that thing can feel so hard to do for yourself, and like in a way that just is informal and is pretty much self-serving, but like,
yeah,
so special and important as an artist or a creative in any which way of your practices. And that's why I decided to have a career in art, is because I also felt like, I know I love this thing, I know I'm super called to this thing, but when I don't have to do it because it's not an assignment due, or it's not a job to do, or a group of people doing it like unprompted, unfortunately, I was an artist that a lot of the time wasn't doing enough in my free time, and would just like have tons of ideas but have a hard time implementing them. So for me, being an artist as my career is so fulfilling and so important, because it keeps me up on that practice where I owe it to people. And especially with tattooing, like I feel like I owe it to people in such a serious way that it's like the perfect medium for me, because it's very much like, no, you have to do this, and you have to do it as well as you can.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be inspired to act and put a lot of effort into it.
Yeah. Well, I love getting to see your art, and I'm glad that you picked this career, because it's so much fun to get to watch what you come out with. And at work today, my coworker and boss were like, I feel like I could see you writing a children's book. I'm like, I definitely want to write a children's book at some point. And I also have creatives in my family that it would be so fun to do a collaborative project in some sort of way. I don't know how it would look, but I'm sure we could do many children's books as a collective.
Yeah.
More brains are better. But I wanted to show you guys this picture book that I picked up for us called The Tomorrow Tree: How Nature Creates New Life from Old, by, pardon my Italian, Valentina Gottardi, Maciej Michno, and Danio Miserocci. Obviously,
Well said.
I'm doing my best with that pronunciation, but I just couldn't resist getting this because it's such a cool book that shows you about how life regenerates in the forest. It says like the second
Wow.
life of trees, and it talks about like, okay, so the tree falls over and that seems like the end of a story, but actually all of these things are going to happen because of that. And it shows about the insects and the work that they come in and do during decomposition. And it talks about fungi and other
Wow.
animals and mosses and lichens. And it's just such a cool book that I couldn't live without. So I wanted to show that to you guys because children's books can teach everyone so much. Obviously, it has like beautiful art as well, and the opportunity for learning that I want to be able to read to our kids, but I'm also like, I have a lot to learn from this book. So I'm excited about that.
Riley, what type of books do you think is my favorite book? You know that I love children's books. I think that, especially when the illustration, of course, there are some that are more compelling or less, but I just love them because also it's a story that feels very much like you can devote the time to get through it in a sitting and get to see the start, middle, end of a story all in a way that's super accessible and fun. It's quick, but it's like evokes so much because I love pictures. I love pictures being in books. I love drawings being in books. I love any sort of that it's not just words the whole way through, or even when the art in the story, I'm sure this art form has a name, but when the type is altered to be like, I'm falling down or whatever, like, have a little storytelling through how the text is laid out on the page. I love visual storytelling like that too. So that book sounds awesome. And yeah, I think children book project would be so cool. That would teach us so much. I feel like even as an artist, I'm like, I would have to think about how that like formats on a page and get better at photographing my artwork, which is something that even with tattoos, I love taking pictures of my tattoos, but because of the setting in the light, like I know that there is more I could be doing to excel at it. That would be such a cool, fun thing to learn. And how are you feeling? Let's just check in real quick. How are you doing sickness-wise? How are you feeling today?
You know, I am feeling so much better. I'm still feeling a little bit of head congestion and an occasional cough and whatnot. But I'm annoyed mostly because I still feel like my brain hasn't really caught up. And I was saying to Brayden, I feel right now like really the drive to be doing reading and learning and thinking. We've talked about it a lot on the podcast, but I'm just excited to be in a learning era right now. And I guess it's not as much an era as a lifestyle because we always kind of feel this way, but it's frustrating because you can just feel when your brain is not firing on its full cylinders. And sometimes people have been like asking me a question and and you're just like, I am not processing that. It's not your fault, it's me. And I've been like going to read my book, and even that I'm just like, I'm not really understanding it, and it's frustrating, and it gives me empathy for people that are not as cognitively blessed as I am. And it's not to come out here and be like, when you're so hyper intelligent, but I am a luckily pretty intelligent person, and I attribute partial of that to nature, but a lot of it to nurture and just growing up where reading and learning was very encouraged and part of our lives. Having a mom as a teacher, like from such a young age, we were having opportunities to learn and work your brain, and your brain is definitely leave it. Speaking of someone with a brain, thank you.
He does have a big, beautiful brain.
Yeah, when you're just not able to process the way that you want to, it's a little frustrating, but I know that that's just gonna come back. I just have a little bit of the lingering brain fog where I think my energy in my body is needing to go towards other things right now, and fair enough, healing up, but I am feeling pretty good. I'm having the mixed emotions just from the same topic we were talking about last week, where we don't have to go too far down this road again, but I don't know if you saw, Quinn, it's a like breaking news story from just before recording that another person was shot and killed by ICE in Minnesota, and it just feels so dystopian to have these events happening day after day where people that are just living their lives are being killed by our government. Like, I know it's not the most nuanced way to put it. However, that is what's happening if the government is just giving impunity to these officers. And I wish that people were not having to live in fear about walking to work, picking their kids up from school, going through the just stuff of life, and especially when then the vice president comes and says, actually, we're not seeing the full story here. If you saw his press conference about the little boy, the 5-year-old that was detained by ICE, he's like, well, what were we supposed to do because his dad broke the law? Okay. Even if your parent was breaking the law, which it's not clear that that's what was happening in this situation. It seems like this man is an asylum seeker that is actually waiting for his case to be seen. But obviously, I don't think we should be rationalizing any of what's going on, and I think about so many countries where their police officers, most at least, like, they have maybe special teams or whatever, but most don't even carry guns, and that would make me feel safer, frankly, if we are seeing that. And again, this is a white person wake-up call, because black and brown people forever in this country have known that they are in danger in interactions with the police, which is not what that role should be. It's what that role has been historically, but the only point to me to have a police force would be to create a sense of safety in communities.
Yes, I did have a big cry about that today. Did have a full-on breakdown, because there are times that I just need to get it out of my system, and hearing of that news, like, it's absolutely horrible. And it's so, I yesterday shared about working at a new tattoo studio, which I'm really proud of and excited about, and also Binkerton, I doubt you guys, I'm sure, can't hear her, but she's like, let me out. I'm like feeling so lucky in my life in that sense, and then even sharing about that and an exciting good thing in life can feel that is a part of social media and like networking, business stuff, at advertisement, being on social media, that can feel so like weird as well, where it's like, and I too promise I very much still have this on my mind. Like, I'm grateful to be announcing that. I'm so happy that I, in my personal and professional life, am getting to thrive in these ways, and also feel very deeply affected by this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really important for us to keep talking in our communities about it, in our personal relationships, just even not, I think sharing about it on social media is super valuable and important as well. And I am feeling very personally called to like, okay, my community is someone I can have, are people I can have a very direct effect on, and where it's like engaging in person as well. That is for me a big priority right now, to make sure that that is being thought of, talked about, and improved upon in my circle that I have that type of direct effect on.
I think that needs to be a priority for all of us, because I think it's so much more rare to feel a lack of empathy and compassion for someone that you have any sort of an in-person relationship with. There's a new season and the final season of Queer Eye. Oh my gosh, I love that show so much. It's a show that will always make me cry and warm my heart to watch. I highly recommend it. It's also one of the few shows being made now that I feel like is designed, like, it's not intentionally made to be on in the background. I don't want to be on my device when I'm on it. I want to just sit and watch the show. It just feels so good to watch, and this is something that they talked about in one of the early seasons of this, or early episodes of this last season, and just talking about the fact that when you're getting to know someone on a one-on-one level, even if you have different perspectives and you don't fully agree with every single opinion someone has, that's such a different thing than like having good feelings for them. And even if it's not someone, we all know that it's not like, oh, every single person that I have an in-person relationship with is basically my best friend and I want to be with them 24/7 all the time, could not be annoyed by someone in person. This only happens on the internet. That's not the case. But usually you can see somebody's humanity at the very least, and you can understand, damn, like they're actually going through something, or, you know, their personality isn't exactly the best friendship match for me, but I don't want anything bad to happen to them. And I think we all just really need each other, and I feel, if anything now, I guess you would think that events like this can make you feel more polarized, but to me, I think I feel just more of a sense of grace and compassion for more people, because I'm like, I don't need it. Like, I don't even care if you believe the same things with me at all. Like, I know that you don't deserve this. Like, it doesn't matter if this were to come out that this person that got shot and killed by ICE was completely on the other side of the political spectrum than me, yada yada, you know, we didn't see eye to eye on anything, it wouldn't make me feel like, okay, so in this case, it is what it is. Like, I don't think you can have that kind of picky and choosiness when it comes to unequivocally, like, right and wrong, and yeah, so
I agree with that to a degree. I'm not saying anyone being murdered is the way that I would wish anyone's fate ever, but I also think that there's a degree at this point where I definitely feel more like open and love and accepting of so many, and maybe most people, but also with people at this point within this administration that are not willing to change their minds and are on the side. Like, I can't act like I feel that I'm like, oh, it's still all love here if you are calling someone a slur and being violent or whatever it is. Like, that is not So I see what you mean, and I don't think that that's what you were saying, but I'm having this feeling where it's like, yes, I believe people should be able to have difference of opinion. I do not believe that that opinion should be allowed to be vile, hateful, bigoted, racism, etc. But
Yeah.
you
I
can
mean, no. That's just, that's not what I'm saying, that that's okay to me if you're being that way. I'm just saying that I think that I'm feeling a lot more solidarity to be found with people that I don't know. I've definitely felt before such a struggle between, can I have like friendships with people that don't check all of these boxes when I know all of these boxes are so important to me. And I think that I've realized more that I'm like, okay, there are ways that I'm gonna have to figure out being comfortable with relationships that have nuance where because there are people in my life that I am friends with and have had long relationships with, but then have been rifts because I'm like a little on edge because I'm like, oh, but that is not how I feel about that, and trying not to let minutia like make whatever this saying is, like, lose the forest for the trees. But of course,
yeah. I was talking to another white friend this morning where I was saying, yeah, I understand, like, we are both in this place. Basically, they expressed, like, I brought up this conversation because we were on the phone after I had a breakdown crying about this and was like, I'm just so disheartened. I'm so frustrated. I said, I feel that it's so important that we are continuing to engage with the people in our lives, our circle, our community, talking about this, making it, even if it's uncomfortable. And they were like, yeah, I have been thinking about talking to someone in my life about this, but it just hasn't felt like the right time, and it feels so complicated. And I completely understand that and know how they feel, and said, I have come from that place before too, but I'm also at a point with white people where it's kind of like, yeah, I am sorry, and I can hold space for those feelings, and I think we really owe it. Like, the least we could do as people with this amount of privilege is to make sure that we are putting ourselves in the uncomfortable place of being the advocate and ally for what we believe in these inner circles, and not, because if it's not us, then what? It's just put on these marginalized people once again to do the educating, to feel the repercussions of. It's like, no, we need to take that on our shoulders. And yes, it's uncomfortable, yes, it's draining, yes, it's tiring, yes, it is all of those things that, again, who is extremely familiar with that being their life and how it looks, having to continuously educate ignorant white people. Yeah, I believe as white people that are allies and friends of people in so many different marginalized communities, the least we can do is bring awareness and call out people in our circle for needing to be better and needing to grow and change.
Mm-hmm. And on that note, I think that mindset can change so much of how we approach things. Like, instead of, and I'm not saying that it's not valid to have the feeling that it feels tired to be educating, but I've been trying to reframe personally as like, oh, this is an opportunity for conversation, and having someone that feels more open and non-judgmental, I think, is where my better growth has always taken place. And if you can have that opportunity for other people, I have just seen several different videos on Instagram where people were saying, like, I was so red-pilled and so far gone, and it was an interaction with name a person, and maybe this work shouldn't fall on them, but it was like, in this case, a black woman that he said she just was friendly with me, and she was approaching me from such a non-judgmental place, even though he literally has white power tattooed on his back and is not someone that you would have to be friendly with, and would be totally fair if this woman did not feel safe or comfortable to be around them, but was just one of those extremely important people in life that was able to just show up for him where he was at, and those experiences are really transformative for people. So when you try to embody your most enlightened self, it not only gives back to you by feeling like a lighter, happier person, but I think that there's just huge ripple effects out there. So I'm gonna keep on reading my Zen texts that you guys know that I like, because they often just inspire me to do, honestly, like the self-work that makes it possible to show up that way, because it does require unlearning and work on your own on yourself, because that's a really hard thing to do.
My friend that I also, if you're listening, I love you, and
Hi.
you know I love you so much. I don't want it to sound at all, and I think they would know because we clarified this in a longer phone call, but I don't want it to sound at all like it's a call out of being like, you need to be for real. I am saying to myself, which I told my friend on our phone call, I literally had to, a lot of this perspective of me saying, okay, like around the election last year where people felt like, oh, I found out this person is a Trump supporter, so they are iced out of my life, and I am cutting contact and I'm cutting communication, and I, from Black women predominantly, had that message fed to me of, hey, no, how about instead of immediately cutting this person out, that you people that are in their circle, in their group, that have the most highest chance of influencing a mindset change for them or influencing positive growth, don't just wait for it to fall back on us, people of color, or whoever it may be, to do the educating and to feel those repercussions. So I am not at all like, oh yeah, I'm a white person who's already, like, I've known this, I've been practicing this. No, I have to give 100% credit to Black and brown people and other marginalized people for being such trailblazers and very aligned with mindset and revolution and just powerful people that have made me, I always thought, years and years before this, I thought I was doing a good job being an ally and an advocate, and I have had to be humbled many times to be like, yeah, good try, but you kind of swung and missed there. We have to be willing to keep growing and hearing how to change, and then that to me was the perfect time on this phone call where I'm like, this person is going to be receptive to me saying, hey, I hear that you're feeling like that might be a little uncomfortable and not fun, but I kind of think that's your responsibility. So.
Also, in the name of giving credit where credit is due, I didn't say this exact quote, but something along the lines last episode of your silence will not protect you, and that is from Audre Lorde, who is a amazing Black woman, activist, scholar, writer. So I just wanted to remind that because I saw the quote earlier this week and I was like, oh yeah, that's who I was referencing. The last thing I want to touch on this episode is the big storm that is supposed to be coming for us on the East Coast, and you'll know on Tuesday, by the time this comes out, what's happened right now. We don't know how severe or not severe it's actually going to be in Charlottesville. Other places are definitely going to be hit by it, but as we have been preparing for possibly losing power, possibly getting, trapped at our house for the storm, it has been making me think about times before we had the weather app, weather channels, and meteorologists reporting to us what was going to happen, about how people had, like, how A, there was preparedness just for the unexpected, but B, what it was like to predict the weather in the past. And I know that there's a lot of times that I'm sure people were just caught completely off guard, but there's so much indigenous knowledge and wisdom that we don't understand now because it's stopped like being circulated and passed down or was cut off intentionally by colonizers. And I would love to learn more about that traditional, like, being more in touch with the land. I'm sure if you pay a lot more attention to what's going on around you, then you start to understand those patterns and make those informed choices. Like how farmers are a group of people that will often, even if it's like, the air feels still and beautiful and you might think nothing of it, and they're like, oh, there's a storm coming.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that I'm curious about.
Yeah, I just want to get more and more developed in my spidey senses and be the most in tune and aware version of myself. I'm just so excited as well by life, by the challenge of like showing up to be the best I can be. And I think it's important to remember that it matters who you surround yourself by. It matters what we listen to, hear, think, consume, and I am just trying to keep that in mind as I'm making decisions on how I'm spending my free time. And I don't think I'm going to do something like a radical cutout of anything that could be negative, because I am going to keep watching The Traitors, and that's maybe drama that does not need to be in my head, but those are the type of things where it's like, I know I am not such an extremist with my points of view that feel like, okay, well, I can't even have fun by doing this type of thing. Maybe down the road, as I evolve, I'll decide, yeah, that's not worth my time and energy at all, but
right now, that feels extremely worth my time, frankly.
Yeah, so... But I'm excited
to be real,
to
The Traitors is not the problem. If we're talking about reality shows that are bringing in negative energy to your life, I have a lot that I could start with before The Traitors.
Yeah.
But will I be watching the third and final installment of the Salt Lake City Housewives reunion next week? Yes, of course.
There's 3 episodes of the reunion?
Yeah, 3-part reunion. It's pretty intense.
Wow. I don't know that I've heard of such a thing. Well, anyway, this was a random little episode. We're going to have fun figuring out how to title this one. But thanks for being here, listeners. You can always find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, youtube.com/@the Q&R Code. And we really do appreciate any love, feedback, a 5-star review, sharing this podcast with a friend, or just, word of mouth. But a physical share, hey, my friend that I'm reaching out with to connect and have a little bit of sense of a stronger community, this is an episode podcast I listened to this week that I think might be worth your time. Any of that type of support, it means so much to us, because it does not matter that in the scheme of things, Riley and I are potentially stunting. Not potentially, we are very much so stunting our growth as a podcast and a developing business by talking about the kinds of heavy topics, like political topics, that we are. So any of the love makes a big difference, because we just want to be people that are sharing our love and joy, and also our, more important, serious, time is of the essence action calls, because I think both sides of the coin are very important to living a balanced and fulfilled life.
Yes, 100%. And just remember, if you ever need style inspiration, look no farther than yourself. And we will talk to you next week. Stay safe, warm, and cozy. Talk to you soon.
Bye.